Hey, Jason Rice here from Lot Pop. We're doing a new Lot Party show. This is our second episode. I'm excited about this one. Again, we're going to be every Thursday right before Auto Dealer Live at 3:15. Tune in early. Get your computer launched on the show and tune in to Lot Party. And what we're doing is just like a Lot Party on your physical lot, we want to bring it to your virtual lot. You know, your physical lot party, you get the whole team out there to stir the lot up, move things around, to get more attention on your inventory and your vehicles. That's what we want to do with your virtual world. You know, the virtual world's more important. You got thousands more traffic there. What can we do to stir things up? We're going to interview vendors. We're going to interview dealers. And right now I've got an interview with a previous general manager that actually just left the Chrysler Dodge Jeep store, and he's actually on the vendor and on the dark side now. And what was cool about this, because he's actually working with me at Lot Pop, and it was a relationship we've had for about a year and a half, he was one of our customers at Lot Pop for over a year, and we just magically kind of worked back together. He didn't leave in account of joining our company, but just following up and see what was going on since he's left the dealership. Now we work together, and his perspective of being in the industry for 30 years and bringing that perspective into this show, and kind of, you know, the differences of what it felt like being in the shoes of a manager just a few months ago to what it is now as a vendor. And so without further ado, I want to introduce John Anderson. John, you there? How you doing, buddy?
I am here, Jason. How you doing, sir?
Excellent. Again, I'm glad to have you on the show, because I don't know if there's a show like this out there where they've actually taken a person of your experience that's just left the industry and kind of get the feel of, you know, the difference between the two ends. I was on the retail end for about 10 years and then on the vendor end for 10 years, and with vAuto. So I was with on the retail end and then with vAuto for 10 years, and now I'm on my own for about 3 years. So it's been about 13 years since I've actually worked in a dealership, not within the dealership, you know, with the team. But my perspective of what we do, you know, we do weekly calls with our store, so we deal with them on a weekly basis. But I want to give you a little bit of a background on yourself, where you started, again, 30 years, and how you got where you were on the retail end.
Well, it's good to be on, and I'll try not to drag this out too long, but I actually, in high school, a friend of mine, his dad was a general manager of a large GM dealership in Indianapolis, and during the summer, he and I would go in and clean cars. So really started a long time ago, cleaning cars, then went through school, come out of school, had the opportunity to start with a Harley Davidson store, selling motorcycles, and that was when AMF owned them, and at that time they weren't as popular as they are today, and a auto dealer owned the Harley store, and during the wintertime he sent me to the Oldsmobile store to sell cars. So I started in the automobile business then. I was back in the mid to early 80s, and worked my way through sales, assistant management, used car management, and then general sales manager, F&I, and then into the general manager's role. So I've pretty much had experience on the sales side of the dealership all the way through every position.
Yeah.
And then as obviously entering into the general manager's role, had experience in service and parts at that time.
Yeah. So you covered the whole gamut of all those positions there, and again, you dealt with vendors on a daily basis on all departments, especially as a general manager, made those budget decisions, and sometimes those are tough and sometimes those are easy. But and again, now you're on the vendor end, and I know you've been through on this side, and you know, we've talked, you know, over the few weeks and months here as you've been a part of the team, and your perspective on the things that you're seeing. And you know, I remember when you used to tell me this, and now I'm on this side, I can understand. So what's one of those things that kind of stick out the most for you, you know, as you go into this changes?
Well, it has opened my eyes to be on this side. And one of the things that I think a lot of times, because we're in the throes of the daily operations of the dealership, excuse me, and quite frankly, we have our blinders on, and I know there's a lot of plates spinning that you have to keep from wobbling, but I think in those times, you have a tendency to start a belief that some of these things that are happening are only happening at your dealership, and I mean from the success side and also from the unsuccessful side.
Yeah.
So you have a tendency, because in order to be business, you have to have there's an ego there, so you have a tendency to protect that ego when things aren't going so well, and a tendency to let that ego out a little bit when things are going well. But what has been interesting on these calls is that we all kind of battle and say the same things. And it doesn't matter if it's on the West Coast of the United States or the East Coast or the Midwest. Everybody's kind of saying the same thing on these calls.
Yeah,
and battling the same issues.
Yeah, and that's the biggest thing is, when I talk a lot of inventory management, because I think inventory is the core. We're there to sell cars, and if we're not driving traffic on cars, we can have a great service department, driving revenue there, but eventually we stop selling cars. We just become a service. So the foundation of the cars, and I talk about them marketing and pushing those cars out a lot. And no matter if you're a Highline store in a metropolitan area, a domestic store in a rural area, the fundamentals of a depreciating asset's the same. And so that's one of the things I try to. Yeah, you might have a niche of a subprime market, or you have a niche on truck market or things like that, but it's still a depreciating asset. And when you attack certain strategies that a dealer does, like trying to hold on to cars and try to, again, pride and ego, they might have stepped up on it, try to buy a trade, and they're not ready to get rid of it yet. You battle that. So if there's a general manager, general sales manager out there that might be listening or watching this show, what's some of the things that you might catch, again, other than pride and ego, that you say, hey, sometimes open up the doors? And I guess in inventory management, what's the key, the differentiator between these successful stores that you see time and time again be successful with the inventory versus the ones that are struggling? Both sides, as just leaving the GM, because I know you've said, hey, I've been in your shoes, and I know, when we've been on the calls, you tell me you've been in the shoes and you understand, but then again, you go, I've seen this work too much that you're not listening. What's some of that advice you can give to some of these guys?
Well, you just hit on it, Jason. I think the absolute number one thing is to understand that you're dealing with a depreciating asset, and it's the most important thing, in my opinion, at the dealership that you're dealing with, because that's the major inventory that drives the machine.
Yeah.
So in order to get that lift for the dealership you're looking at, and from a general manager's perspective, that's the difference. I understand that you're going to have individual department heads that are more focused on their department, but when you're running the entire operation, you're looking to lift the whole operation. So how you manage those assets, those new and used vehicles sitting on your lot, is direct reflection of the lift that you're going to get in your dealership, and you cannot, under any circumstances, develop stories around why you should hold on to those depreciating assets any longer once it reaches a certain point. And that starts to, we all know that in that 21 to 25 day is your prime range to make dollars on that pre-owned vehicle. So after that day, and I understand there's some outliers out there, I understand that, but for 98% of your inventory, you cannot develop a story around that vehicle and make an excuse as to why you don't want to see that vehicle go by. Yeah. And I understand, believe me, I bought, when I was trying to stock my inventory, I worked very hard to bring cars to the curb at the dealership in order to buy or trade for, but you have to fill holes. And on those, I had to go out a long way. I would go all the way to the East Coast to buy cars. Sometimes those cars wouldn't arrive on the truck until day 10.
Yeah.
But I had to pay for that car on day 1. Yeah. So I found myself, that's why I said I laugh sometimes, because I wonder what you would say. I remember when I would make an excuse and you would kind of play it off by going, yeah, I've heard that one before. but the fact of the matter is you start making excuses. Well, that car didn't arrive till day 12. Yeah. It still starts at day 1 where it starts to depreciate, though.
So, and biggest perspective, I guess, again, just leaving the store, on transitioning to like that velocity philosophy. We're not talking about, hey, let's make it up, sacrifice our gross and make it up in volume. That's not the case. But when you finally at the store transitioned into a velocity type mindset,
right?
Again, we're so in tune as dealers, general managers, of looking at our average gross profit. What differences did it make at your store to take it from, hey, yeah, we have an aging policy, it's somewhat soft, to, no, we're getting more aggressive, we're turning faster and more profitable? How did that all tear out and affect all the?
There were numerous differences. The first one is I started to realize that that you don't have to sacrifice gross and unit and velocity both. So that's the first thing I started to realize.
Yeah.
And yes, I had salespeople that would come in and they were a little bit upset because initially they started to see the effect of getting rid of some of that aged inventory. But as we got the inventory in line, you don't have to sacrifice both. The other thing was we were delivering between 130 and 150. We touched 170 a few times, units a month. That's new and used, but primarily we were a pre-owned store. We delivered 130 used, 30 new.
Wow.
So that was the ratio. So when I was stocking over 200 units to get that 130 new or 140 new,
Used.
and I did have a lot of bleed through.
Yeah.
But as I started working with Lot Pop and we were making some of those adjustments, getting that 0 to 30 day bucket up there in percentage, where I was working on that 50 to 60% range, it allowed me to shrink my inventory but still have the same results, which that was a huge effect to me, not having excess inventory that was just going to bleed through and cause me an aging problem.
Yeah. So then how did it trickle effect through the other stores? Again, as a general manager, coming out of the store and maybe another manager going, yeah, I hear all this talk about velocity and I should turn my inventory, have a hard age policy and things like that. But they the way sometimes they approach it, it sacrifices their growth, so they go back to bad habits and back away and make adjustments. But once you committed to it and it stuck with it, how did it affect the overall, not just your average, because you can have your average back. You can have,
right.
Again, I say back because if you have an aging policy, yes, your gross takes a little bit of hit as you're sliding that stuff out. But once
Right.
you get it cleaned up and moving, you get your gross back, and then you get more volume because you're carrying 130, selling 130, 140 instead of 200 to do it. But then what's the after effect on F&I and parts and service? Again, to try to tell dealers, to not be afraid to commit to cleaning
Right.
it up and going.
Right. Well, that's the whole. When I was referring earlier to the lift it gives the entire dealership,
Yeah.
it absolutely does. And you can retail everything. I'm firmly convinced that everything is retailable, unless it's just broken. If it's broken, I understand. If it's an older unit, then that's hard to justify that. But everything can be retailed. So by doing that, you're bringing more customers. By having a more diverse inventory, you're bringing more eyes on your inventory digitally. You're bringing more opportunities to the dealership. You're retailing a car, and even if it's a middle bucket car, and you may have had to adjust it a few times, you're still retailing the car. You're gaining a customer. More than likely, 50% of the time or 55% of the time, that customer is going to have a trade-in, which now you take into the recon process, which now the service department gets.
Stay tuned after Auto Dealer Live for the continuation of Lot Party.
Turn on that radio and back here. The cops ain't likely to catch up with us, not tonight. So we can all be quiet and peaceable and listen to the music.
This episode of Auto Dealer Live is brought to you by TrueCar.
All right, here we are. What's up, gentlemen?
What up, yo?
What's happening, Mr. Dave? It's Thursday. This is Auto Dealer Live Day. I'm Dave Villa. Dave Cribbs.
Tommy Elwell.
Elwell. Tommy Ul. Tommy Ul. It rhymes with mule.
I I got to be honest. I just got a
new
email.
phone?
I got a new phone, but yeah, I got an email from Pizza Hut. So I think I got some 20% off or some coupons coming. So
You ever had their barbecue pizza?
Yeah.
You know, I don't eat pizza anymore. I like that kind of New York style pizza. I'm flying out to Chicago tomorrow, and I'm going to be keynoting the Automate's DMS User Summit,
Nice.
and pumped about that. But
So that's the opposite of New York pizza, though.
Yes, I'm actually looking just as forward to speaking. Also, it's my son's going with me. It's his 21st birthday on Monday, so we're going to hang out this
Nice.
weekend. Cool. And I'm also looking forward to deep dish pizza.
Some pizza.
Some Chicago
Get
pizza.
you, get you,
Hey, if you're from
Italian
Chicago,
beef.
let's tweet the place to be.
Yeah, tell me where to go if
pizza.
you're from Chicago.
Yeah, or Chicago's outside. Or Wisconsin peeps, because I guess they probably know.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's like an hour. I mean, it's some
Yeah, I'm sure
places
you
in
drive
West-
an hour for pizza into
I bet
the
you they
heart
do.
of the
Shoot.
team that you hate, the Chicago Bears. If you're from Wisconsin, you like the Packers and you eat cheese. But yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, what I got here? What I
Tampa
got
Bay
here? Right?
Buccaneers.
I don't think you'll have to go far.
Sharp
for
the
good
other day.
pizza.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that it's around. I don't know, man. You know, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to today's show too, man. It's sales
Oh,
superstars.
So good. It's got to be so good. That's what you say about the show, and that's what you say about the pizza. You're like, it's
I'm going to
so
be taking all
good.
kinds of pictures and stuff and texting them over to you, man, about pizza and stuff.
That's all right,
I
I'll
know
be
you
fine.
like food. So
I know I like food, and I don't like flying. So the mixture of the two, it's like balances out. Like, oh, you're enjoying that, but you had to spend 2 hours in a plane that almost shook apart in 40,000 feet in the air.
Yeah,
It's
good luck on
fantastic.
that. I
Because
would be
planes
driving.
shake apart every day, right? I mean,
They only have to do it
I was
once,
watching
Dave.
all this nine. I was watching all this
That's
nine.
right. That's right, Cribs.
Yeah, but I was
Tell 'em.
watching all this nine. I know
No.
neither one of you guys. I'm talking to the guy that drove to Vegas last year in his car,
I was
made a
about
road
to
trip
too,
out of
buddy.
it, and the guy who literally
Tampa to Vegas.
We were going to a store in Pittsburgh.
time.
He and I were flying to a group in Pittsburgh earlier this year or last year, and I mean, it's like $100,000. To you, it was like a $10,000 a month deal.
Yeah, it was- it could've been lucrative.
$150,000 a month. Oh, actually, I'm sorry, it was about $1 million a month deal, right, for total gross sales for the
what?
company.
Oh, for you, for gross sale? Yeah, I
And
guess
so
you're right, yeah.
we're flying there, and you thought this guy was a big baby. He's like, you know.
It wasn't a baby. I was just praying the entire time and had my music on. I was like, Dave's like, hey, look at the window. I'm like, I'm good. I'm just like, yeah, just
Yeah, because if we
I'm good for 2.5 hours. Because if I look out the window, you see the gremlins. That's what
all
happens.
this 9/11 stuff, I realized that they were like, because you heard so many different stories and different things and different documentaries. I watched it, and my wife and I were watching it. They were like 4,000 planes in the air currently when they grounded the ones that hadn't taken off yet. So, out of 4,000 planes, that's in the air right now, I mean, how many are shaken apart? That's like we're cool guys.
I went to David Cribs. It
Why are we
only
talking
takes
about this?
one.
Yeah, it only takes one.
Jeez,
It only takes one plane. to
Get you
flip.
prepared for your flight, Dave.
thanks. Let's talk about sales superstars.
Oh yeah,
gentlemen.
that's better.
Tommy,
Yes.
you're the top sales guy here, other than me.
Right.
I'm just saying, you're the top sales guy here. 8 years you've been doing this, and Cribs, you were here for 2 years, and prior to that, spent 20 years in the car business. You're a top real estate, salesperson now, and you're training other real estate agents on things that you picked up in the car business. That, so we're sitting here sincerely. I'm going to talk to you first. You're a top salesperson, man, and I mean that. I know your skills in selling, and we're interviewing top salespeople today.
I know, and I can't wait because, I think if you talk to any top salesperson, they want to hear what other top salespeople are saying and doing. I figured out something along the way in my career, and that's that really the best of the best want to continually learn. They're continually working on their game. So I'm looking forward to today's show.
Yeah, I agree with that. Do you agree with that statement? I mean,
Yeah. Well, I think we all have different styles. We all can be effective. It's whatever works for you. And I never think for 1 second I'm the greatest. I'm the best thing ever. I'm always learning. You taught me most of what I know in the sales business. Dave Cribs is amazing when you do a Dave.
he's like, stop it, keep going. He's
That
like,
was-
stop
that was-
louder, say it again.
Yeah, Dave Cribs. It's phenomenal when he. If you did listen to one of his meetings, he's totally different perspective, and I love it. I love being at what's going on.
I was looking.
The mug is funny. Yeah, so I am a serial sales pro, but I am a student. I never stop learning, and I'm very blessed. We're very blessed to be in a great industry. So I'm excited to hear what everybody has to say today.
Because of sales superstars today, here's what we're going to do, man. You guys, we're going to give some of these hats away. See this right here? Show them the back that Tommy you got on.
Right,
The
the back.
little serial sales pro icon. If you're looking for great training, this is a shameless plug, but serialsalespro.com has it. I can tell you right now, this thing is ready and juiced up to take you to the next level in sales. But we're going to give away some hats today to the top tweeters.
All right, good idea.
Top tweeters. What do you guys say? All right, so get on it today, man.
Hey, I gotta grab
We got the
too.
hats right here.
Yeah, tweeters. Hey, how about tweeters? How about a little slash tag action, huh? Hashtag slash tag. Let's get some things going on that. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Thank you. Do it, please, huh? Speaking of, is that gonna be the transition? I thought it was a little premature.
That's the next up, maybe. That's the next up. The next up on Auto Dealer
Oh, it
Live.
is. It's right time.
What is it, Cribs? The next up.
The next up is
Do you
slash
know?
tags.
It's brought to you by Automate.
Brought to you by Automate.
Why don't you go check this out? It's great.
Yeah.
Mr. Torres, your burrito.
Is that refried beans?
Refried beans, just like you like it.
No, I don't eat refried beans.
I thought you asked for extra refried beans.
Get this crap out of here. God. What's up, y'all? Episode 11 of Slash Tags. So let's get this bad boy started now that, the new host, Lou, is now taking over. So, Slash Tags. Let's start with the first one. They had a picture of Fabio. Who is Fabio? Anyone? Fabio?
He's in the cover of romance novels.
Oh, the guy on the horse that looks like the
I can't believe it's not
butter. Yeah, the butter guy. Yeah, Christian Salazar at Christian S82. Hashtag slash tag. Session on Auto Dealer Live. Less Tommy LOL, more slashes. You got the man fired. You, Christian Salazar, Tommy Uwell fired. I hope you're glad. I hope you appreciate this. Now you got me.
Buddy, practicing for the slash sheets today?
You didn't get the memo.
What happened?
Ezra, did you give him the? You didn't get the memo?
No, I was working. I was doing my sales thing. You know how I do.
It's kind of hot in here. You really didn't get the memo. The memo.
What are we changing up the
No.
the intro to the show, right?
No.
doing
You're
this week?
good, man. I was warming the seat up for you. You're good. You're good. Thanks, bro.
Thanks, man.
There you go. Thanks.
Sorry about that earlier, folks. Until we get some kind of a, what do you call it when they do a petition? Until you get a petition together, okay, with at least 17,000 signatures, you're not booting me from Auto Dealer Live. Sorry. Or, wait, you're not booting me from slash tags. That makes more sense. You're not booting me from slash tags, okay? 17,000 signatures if you want it. Start writing. So, let's keep it moving with the slashies, shall we? Okay. Mr. Ed Brooks at Velocity Sales said, no one is anybody's customer for life. You still need to earn the business every time. They will give you the first shot. Shots fired. Queen of Cars. What a group, she says. I don't know, dear live. That's a whole lot of testosterone. Need to round it out with a chica like Stacey Ellison 44. Stacey Ellison not making it on the show, and there was a lot of testosterone. It's what's in the room until the girl walks in. And then there's more estrogen. Next up, our wonderful sponsor, the Next Up. Maybe a 10-car salesperson could sell more cars if they could focus on follow-up without losing opportunities. Wink, 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 wink. Like maybe if you had a Next Up as a product in your store, that could be a possibility. Is that what you're saying, Next Up? I got a cramp. I got a face cramp. I'm okay. Bobby Heron, we'll round it out with Bobby Heron, some estrogen for you guys. The only way I would miss at Politics ATL on Auto Dealer Live, airport emergency.
All right, now everybody, get in crash position.
And our man Ben Burton, whose hashtag handle makes no sense for his name, so I won't mention it. We want to thank him for giving us this little ditty.
Man, my name's Tommy Will. I'm also known as Sasquatch, and I think my slash tags are the best, but I really don't do them that well. Man. You will respect my authority.
And again, we want to thank the real-life Eric Cartman from South Park that came on the show today. You can catch him in Vegas. He's got shows somewhere on the corner of where Celine Dion performs, I believe. I'm not sure. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. It's like Lay's potato chips. You can't eat just one. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. I'm so happy I showed up today. I'm so happy you showed up. Do me a favor, guys. We hashtag the crap out of Auto Dealer Live. Can we maybe hashtag slash tags? All y'all are funny. All y'all are witty. Majority of you guys. So let's slash tag specifically. You make our job easier, and also we can see it. People can search by it. You know how the hashtags work. That's what we do. So anyway, hashtag Auto Dealer Live. Hashtag slash tags. And when we see it, we will know that you're trying to be on this part of the show, and we may use you. So until next week, don't forget, I didn't get fired. Bye-bye. That's it.
Welcome back. That was Slash Tags brought to you by Automate.
That was a good suggestion, Steve. Acting.
That was awesome. And hey, we're back at Auto Dealer Live. We're talking to sales superstars. So the next up is our superstar sales panel. And with us today we have Heather Allred, local automotive specialist at Raycom Media. And Heather's been on the floor for over 10 years. She's now with Raycom Media. And we have Joey Book, sales professional at Lewis Automotive Group. And we also have with us Mike Davenport, number one in sales at Bachman Chevrolet in Louisville, Kentucky. Welcome.
And I buy it and I had it on my front doorstep when I get back from business.
There you go.
Welcome, Heather. Joey, Mike, are you with us?
I'm learning more and more about it. And,
what's up, guys?
I'll use it more.
You are live on the air, y'all. I think that's Mike Davenport. He's selling a Corvette right now on the phone. He's giving us a live clinic.
He's like, oh, you want to see superstar sales? How about this one?
I'll call you after the show.
We do.
We can hear you. We're waiting for Mike to close the deal.
Yeah, we're waiting for Mike to see if he closes it.
There's a one-legged up.
I'm here.
Oh, there you go.
All right. You're here.
We knew that. We heard you for the last 10 minutes.
Mike, are you working a deal? What's going on?
Yes, we can hear you. Can you hear us? Heather?
I can barely hear you guys.
Okay, so let's jump into this thing, man, and we can hear you guys loud and clear, and we'll start the questions off, Dave.
Yeah, Mike, I'm going to go to you. Can you hear me okay?
I can barely hear you, but I can hear you.
Okay, we can hear you fine, so I'm just going to get right to it. Mike, you're number one there at Bachman Chevrolet. You've sold as much as 38 cars in a month. That's more than a car a day. I mean, that is getting it done. But today we really want to hear, what is it that is your edge? What are you doing that you feel like others aren't? How are you getting that kind of success in the store?
Well, I think the biggest thing is that I commit myself to follow up with my customer. I commit myself to be there, and I commit myself to show that my customers that I'm different than the average salesperson in their mind that they're going to get ready to deal with. So, and then I give my customers all sorts of after sale follow up, after sale tirades, like my app that I've got that I give all my customers, and all that stuff. And it's delivery. I do things different. I got my Chevy Dude Coke. I got pins. I got business cards. I put a sticker on the inside of their door, and the $2 bill in their gas tank, and all those little itty bitty trinkets, if you want to call them that, they add up. And that customer says, you know what? I've never bought a car and had this happen before. And that, that repeat and that referral business is what makes me successful, and why I have such huge high sales is because most of my business is repeat referral.
Mike, how long have you been at the store there?
6.5 years.
6.5 years.
That's awesome, Mike. And you're doing a great job, obviously, and I know you're on the road somewhere, and you got some personal business and family business things to take care of. So we appreciate you coming on, and we're going to jump to you in a second. But I want to ask Heather. Heather, can you hear me now?
I can hear you. How do you sound?
You sound great. I used to ask that for Verizon, but now I switched to Sprint. I'm just kidding. You like that?
Yeah, that's not bad.
Hey, Patum. Hey, listen, Heather. Let me ask you something. 10 years, okay? You are on the floor at a dealership. Now I know currently, this year you've taken a different path and you've used your expertise to now service dealerships. But you're a car girl. I mean, you're spending every day, most days, in dealerships. So here's what I want to ask you, and this is kind of what we're going to go moving into even the second panel. I want to know, okay, what you do. I want to know what Joey does. I want to know what Mike does. I want to know what top salespeople do. That 95% of salespeople that either don't make it well, go from paycheck to paycheck, don't take it serious, aren't the first ones there, aren't the last ones to leave, whatever it is. What do you do? What does a top performer do that they don't do? Because we're in an industry in sales where, and let me ask you that question to get you to answer that. What would you do, Heather, and what do you do that they're just unwilling, unable to do?
Well, it's not magic. My answer isn't going to be this groundbreaking thing that you haven't heard before, but you need to go back to basics. I'm in a dealership every single day, and I see so many people running around trying to get the new app, the new phone, the new follow-up, the new CRM template, and get their pictures perfect and their walk around on their phones perfect. But if you can't get the basics of a deal down, and a deal, whether it's in a car dealership or outside of the car dealership, it really doesn't matter. You still have a buyer, a decision maker, you got to fill in the gaps, and you got to get it funded. It's just that simple. So you've got to get your basics done right. And if it's your dealership's fault, then guess what? Shame on them, but also shame on you. We're all adults. There's this big thing called Google out there. There's a plethora of training materials, and I don't care if it's you guys or anyone else or Grant Cardone. It's all the basics. It's all the same thing. It's about doing the same thing every time, being disciplined, having some commitment, and I congratulate Mike the way he branded himself. I only know who he is because of his internet presence, but every guy out there can't be Mike until he starts putting deals together consistently, and then he becomes profitable at them, and he becomes great at them. Then he can become Mike.
So you're saying that they all want to be like Mike? Look at me throwing slogans around left and right. I don't know what it is, man.
He is on, ladies and gentlemen, he's on fire.
I'm in a commercial mood or something. Go ahead, Tommy.
I was going to ask Joey. So Joey, I think everyone will agree with that.
Well, Joey's an open book. Come on, Joey.
I'm leaving.
I'm full of it.
So Joey, I piggybacking off what Heather said. So I think we all can agree a good foundation of basics is what we need to have as good salespeople. Now, what's your best month as a salesperson?
It's March. Because I ask you,
it's March Madness.
My best was in March at 39.5.
Come on. What did the half a car look like?
You should split that with somebody.
Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
It was a Yugo, a piece of crap.
Car was five different customers here at once, and a couple people stepping in to help me out.
Wow. Okay, so that
half car deal was actually his deal in the 39 for cheese deals.
So saying that to say, what is it that basics are important, but basics is just going to get you by. Basics isn't going to give you stellar results. Basics isn't going to make you a pro per se. What do you do? What are you doing?
Heather's going to get you.
No, I'm not. I'm actually agree. I 100% agree with
it. Sounds like you're disagreeing with her.
No, it's not. What I'm saying is you got to have a firm foundation of basics, but basics are your groundwork. Okay, so what do you do on top of that to really excel and be better than the rest? What do you do?
Well, I would say that we're very blessed in our age that we have some great trainers out there. Steve Stoney, Grant Cardone, Fran Taylor, Ziegler. Those are all great trainers that each one of them presents something great that you can take away. And then there's people like Mike Davenport. Mike can tell you I'm a huge fan of Mike Davenport. I watch him closely and, pick up a lot of stuff that he puts down. So I try and make sure that I'm staying up to time. I do a lot of Facebook stuff. I probably get, I'd say, 10 to 15 deals a month come from Facebook alone. So my biggest thing is I try not to rely on the dealership or rely on the BDC to bring me customers. I rely on bringing myself customers. Number one, because if I bring them in off of Facebook, they already have looked at my family. They've looked at my, my lifestyle. They know me. They like me. They trust me, all from Facebook. And, my wife, people run into her at Walmart, and they say, hey, you're Joey Buck's wife. And she just is amazed that, people know her from Facebook. But that's what it's about, bringing people in to the dealership that know me, like me, and trust me. And my closing percentage is higher that way. My deals are faster, and, it speeds up the process. So.
Yeah, and then Joey just brought something up that we talked about in the opener, which is that great salespeople watch what other great salespeople are doing. Here you've got a guy who sold 39.5 cars, and he's focused on what can he pick up from another guy? And I think this is part of what makes a great salesperson a great salesperson. I wonder if the guy who's selling 10 or 12 cars or the female who's selling 10 or 12 cars is doing that same type of activity. Are they focusing on someone who's selling 38 saying, hey, what can I pick up from them? So I love that, Joey, that you brought that up. By the way, is that you in the background?
You got your own cardboard cutout.
Joey, is that you in the background, the big cardboard cutout?
I was going to ask.
He's
that guy has a movement.
My boss thinks I work
I love that.
32 hours.
I'm like, that guy has a
day.
movement. His thumb must be tired. His arms like
He's
shaking.
like, Joey.
He's like, dude, can I move now?
Well, see, I think
he's like, until you get to 10 cards, you can't move. Hey, I got a question for Dad.
You study me hard, son, until you hit 39 and a half cards. Then you put your thumb down. Right? He said that. Is he saying that?
I don't know. I can't hear anymore. My ears are bleeding.
The
That was loud.
The month that I sold 39 and a half cars, people were joking around saying, hey, we can't find you anywhere to take pictures with your customers. So I got the sold cutout so that whenever I'm not available and somebody's supposed to deal with me, they can still get me in the picture, and then my customers think it's hilarious. My Facebook friends think it's so funny. They love the cardboard cutout.
Where do you get a cardboard cutout for our people who want to emulate you?
At a printer?
Is this a?
Well,
can I get this to Walmart or Kinko's?
Now you turned down a little too low, Lou. Hey, I got a question for Mike. Go ahead.
Get those.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I'll Google it. I wrote down.
We'll send the link after.
Heather had that advice about Google. I wrote that down, so I'm going to look that up after the show.
All right.
Now, Google's a great place, but do business locally, and then hand them your business card and say, listen, this is what I'm doing it for.
That's why he's the top, ladies and gentlemen. That's why he's the top right there. Stuff like that.
That's what
do business locally. It was $100 more.
And that's what I want to. That's kind of what I want to talk about. I want to ask Mike Davenport how much Mike does. I mean, because we're talking. Listen, let's face it, man. We've been in sales, and especially if you enter in, and I know you guys are. I don't know how involved you guys are into management, but there's sales managers that are listening now. Both on the dealer side and then on the vendor side. And when you enter into sales management, then what you do is you now become responsible for training salespeople like yourself, And so I know that on both sides, you have individuals that just don't make it. And from a salesperson's point of view, that someone who enters into sales is frustrating, but then from a sales manager's point of view, how do I get good people? What do I expect of my people? So Mike, my question is, man, how much does hustle have to do with it? I mean, how much does really just saying, you know what? I mean, look, I appreciate all the tools. I appreciate all the technology. I appreciate everything that I, that's there for me to utilize. But I mean, really it comes down to rolling my sleeves up and just getting in and working and outworking everybody else. I mean, is what's the top reason, I guess I should say, Mike, that you see people fail in sales? What's the number one reason that the person that somebody would look at and even maybe could do it to some degree in their talent level, but they fail? Why do you think that? Why do they fail?
I think the number one reason they fail is because they don't have the training background or the backstop, the backrest, the sales manager sitting there and pushing them and helping them get better. So now this isn't going to apply to probably anybody listening to the show, because the people listening to the show are the ones that are out there trying to better themselves, trying to get better, trying to do exactly what Joey said, emulate me, which I'm honored. Nobody should emulate me at all, but I know a lot of people do. But the fact of it is I got people that I watch as well, and I want to get better. And the people listening to the show are the ones that are doing that and being progressive. The people that aren't listening to the show is who really need to focus, because they're just sitting back and waiting on that next up. So, AKA sponsor of our show here. They're just sitting there waiting for the next person to walk in the front door. They're not willing to, because one, they probably don't know how to. Two, they don't have management staff backing them up. And three, they're not committed to the organization, to the dealership, or to the sales. I watch it. Yesterday, I was in a store, and I saw 4 salespeople doing their training. 4 salespeople doing their training because they haven't started it for the quarter yet. For the quarter, we're 15 days to the end of the quarter, and they haven't started their sales training. Now, that may sound all good that they're out there doing it, but the reason they're doing it is because management put up a thing that says these people don't have their training done yet. Guess what? It was like almost 50% of the salespeople didn't have their training done yet for the quarter. When do you think my training is done for the quarter? My training is done usually within the first month, depending on how many classes, how many courses there are to do. A lot of times it's done in 2 weeks because I'm committed. I want to get it done. I want to get it out of the way, and I want to move on. So back to what you're saying on the hustle has everything to do with this car business. If you hustle in this car business, you can't screw up forever. You can't do the wrong things forever. You're going to self-teach yourself that you just said, yeah, why don't you go look at that car? And they do go over and look at that car, and they sit there and buy it. You're never going to say that again once that happens to you. I've said it. Other people have said it. And, and you learn that. So the hustle has everything to do with this, because the more people you talk to on the lot, on the phone, on social media, the more people you're going to sell. It's a proven statistic. You can't sit there and talk to 100 people, only sell 2 cars or 10 cars a month. You just can't happen. So it just can't happen. So that hustle means everything to you, but you also have to have the training. You have to have the management, the backbone of the management. And again, those people who aren't committed aren't listening to the show. The people who are listening to the show are the ones committing themselves and trying to do better. But you've got to have a manager's backing you up to do better, because I don't have that. I don't have, my management doesn't back me up on a lot of things that I do. But I just go out and do it on my own, because I know the right thing to do because of my past experience in management, my 17 years into this business. But if I didn't have that, if I was a new guy walking into the store today, they're just doing what everybody else is doing. They're sitting at 6-car club desks talking about all the stuff that they did on the weekend or on their day off or whatever the case may be, and they're not doing their training. And then next thing you know, at the end of the month, and they're doing their training and they're missing ups. And then also they have no idea on how to sell a car, because they're not talking to enough people to get enough experience, so that way they can overcome an objection. The most common objection that we see right now is, I can get the same car down the street for $2,000 cheaper. And most salespeople can't overcome that. Most salespeople sit there and say, is it equipped the same? And what do you think the customer's going to say? Yep, sure is.
Sure.
And it's a lie. And it's a lie because you ask the customer to lie to you. And that's where buyers are liars comes in. Buyers aren't liars. Buyers are liars because you ask stupid questions like that. And then when you come back and say, hey, if all the money was the same, who would you rather buy it from, them or me? Well, they're always going to say you, because you're in front of them. And boom, 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 you ask why. And next thing you know, you can say, do you see why I'm $2,000 more? Sign right here. That's the difference between a salesman like me, a salesman like Joey, a salesman like Heather, and a salesman who sells 6 or 10 cars a month. And in my personal opinion, and I'll stop right here so everybody else can talk, in my personal opinion, there should be no salesperson in this country selling less than 15 cars a month. I don't care if you're in a store selling 40 or 50 cars, because you only got 2 or 3 salespeople at those 40, 50 car stores, or salespeople. You should be selling 15 cars a month. If you're not doing it, as Grant Cardone says, average is failing. And if you're average, you're failing, and that's what you need not to be as an average salesperson. You need to be doing 15 plus cars a month at every store in the country. It's not that hard to do.
It's good.
Yeah, that's great. Very good word, Mike. I'm going to go back to Heather, because Heather, you talked about in the beginning, that we weren't really going to hear any silver bullet magic, but you talked about the basics being important. Mike's talked about hustle. What is it for you? What do you feel like inside really drives you, or puts you over the edge when it comes to having an advantage over other salespeople?
Probably follow up, and the caveat of what Mike said, because I consider, if you can't answer, I got to think about it. I've got to talk to my wife. I've got to think about talk to my family, or the car down the street is $2,000 less. I mean, to me, those are basics. That's overcoming objections. We're in the business to persuade. So I would say most, I guess what differentiated what I do and what I still do even outside of the business is I'm relentless with follow-up. I get creative. With past customers, everybody that I contact, referrals, people that are not, if you have made contact with me in some way, I'm going to find a way to follow up with you. And if you're not answering the phone, or if you're hitting ignore and sending me a voicemail, or if you're not replying to my emails, but I am going through the CRM and I'm seeing you're opening them and I'm seeing you're reading them, then great. I'm just going to find another way to do it. And it's not going to be with a CRM template, and it's not going to be with a boring voicemail. I have gotten more people back into the store by sending a video message. I was using video on my phone. I had those little white HD cameras, 10 years ago, where I was sending customers, and it took forever to upload onto YouTube. So, but guess what? Those weren't for everybody that was coming and buying cars. Those were for the people and the leads that were unsold and were unclosed, and I was absolutely relentless with that follow-up. some of my best clients and best relationships up till today are people that I stayed in touch with for 6 months. Stayed in touch with their friends, stayed in touch with their referrals. And like Mike said, nowadays there's so many ways that you can connect with people. I mean, with LinkedIn and Facebook and all the social media and everybody publishes stuff online, just because you are using your CRM tool, get off the CRM. I mentioned Google before. Use Google. Google their name. Find if you have a lead coming in, and like Mike said, instead of going to go hang out with the group of 6 to 10 cars on the showroom floor, go sit down and say, okay, I have a list of internet leads from the beginning of the month. This is how I make my living. The dealership is not responsible for me being successful. These are unsold right here. This is low-hanging fruit. How can I get them in the store? How can I get them on the phone? How can I get them to respond to my email? And you know what? Just be real with people. I really liked what Joey said about, making his personal life public in terms of, being a real person. Guess what? People hate car salesmen. They hate the stigma of a dealership. They hate the idea of you making money. They hate the idea. They think you're dishonest. My son used to be at the dealership all the time. People would see pictures of him or see him on TV playing football since he was, wee big. If you can start a conversation and be real with somebody and be a real person and somebody they can connect to outside of the dealership, that's all it takes to get people to pick up the phone.
That's good.
So Joey, do you want to go ahead and take a minute just to wrap up? We got to move on to the next segment, guys. But go ahead and take a minute. Anything you want to leave us with in terms of nuggets, some gems, some parting wisdom?
Guys, the biggest thing I can leave you with is be on Facebook, be a presence. When somebody has a birthday pop up, go on there and write happy birthday. Whenever they say thank you, click like and let them know. That is twice that they have seen your name on there. 2 times for one happy birthday. It's just little stuff like that. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of Mike Davenport. We talked earlier, and I was asking him more questions whenever you guys were doing your show earlier. Just follow up with those guys. I mean, I don't call him Bug Mike whatsoever, but I do look at his Facebook at least once a day and see if he's doing something new. Facebook Live, that is something that I feel like a complete moron on. And I do some of the stupidest stuff on Facebook Live, but you know what? That gets me a lot of views. I probably average 500 to 1,700 views. And people that I don't even know are on there commenting. Last night I had a guy say, hey, I saw an orange Mustang in your video. I said, yeah, that's my Mustang. He said, well, do you have any for sale? Yeah, here's my phone number. What's your phone number? Can I call you? So it's little stuff like that that makes a huge difference. And like I said, I don't rely on the dealership whatsoever on getting me appointments. I bring my own business in. I am my own salesperson. It is me that I have to, make a living, not the dealership trying to make me a living.
It's good.
Good stuff.
Mike Davenport will give us a closing thought.
Yeah, Heather said it earlier, and I was just having a conversation with Street Volkswagen down in Amarillo, Texas, over Labor Day. Is the number one thing you have to do is humanize yourself. Make yourself a normal human being. And that's about the only time that I'll tell everybody to be normal. Be a normal human being. Let your customers know that you're one of them. Sit on the same side of the desk with them in a sales presentation rather than across the desk. Do something different that no other dealer out there is doing. Know your product, know how to close, sell cars, and follow up like nobody else. Because when you put yourself out there, again, like I said earlier, you cannot fail. Come up with a process after the fact, after the sale, and follow up. And just one little itty bitty pitch. I've got an app that I love. It works awesome. It's so freaking awesome. If you want to see it, go to ChevyDudeApp.com, and it's absolutely awesome. And that right there helps me get so many deals every single month because I can watch it, I can monitor it, I can track who's in there, what they're doing, if they're looking at new car inventory, used car inventory. That helps me sell cars every single month. And then lastly, you can see it, you can hear it in my voice. Be passionate for what you do. I was not passionate when I got into the car business 17 years ago, but I got that adrenaline rush and I got that bug when I closed my first deal. And my worst month in the car business is January of 2000, the year and the month that I got into the car business. I got on January 14th, 2000. I sold 7 cars, and that's the worst month I've ever had. the very first month of the car business because I got the bug and I got the itch to learn how to close and sell more cars, and then it became passionate to do something different and to always be different for my customers, and that's how they remember me, and that's why I sell so many cars because of that.
Awesome, man.
Good job, Mikey.
Yeah. Well, Heather, Joey, Mike.
I'll give Heather.
You guys
I'll give Heather a closing thought.
Absolutely.
Sorry,
Heather. Sorry about that.
Heather, give us your closing wisdom.
It's not too much different than what Mike said. When you think about following up with people and making a genuine connection, if you don't know something about your clients, if you don't genuinely care, if you don't care about their families and you don't know where they work and where their kids go to school and where they go to church and where they spend their time, and like I said, with social media, it's so easy to do something. A meaningful follow-up system where it's not just birthdays and how do I, how many times can I be in front of them, but how many meaningful times can I be in front of them? If their kids are doing something, in the community, sending them just a brief message congratulating them or wishing them luck. I mean, I know it's basic, but I don't see it happening. I see generic follow-up systems with CRM, and people think they're doing their jobs, and I am really passionate about that.
Awesome. Well, guys, I really appreciate you being a great panel. We had a panel of experts here, and I learned a lot, and I'm sure our listeners did as well. So, Heather, Joey, and Mike, thanks so much for joining us. And
thanks for having me.
No, thank you, guys. Have a great
Hey,
rest of this week.
I forgot one more trainer that I watch quite a bit is you, David. Your morning pump-up shows.
Thank you, Joey.
Awesome.
That's right.
Thank you, man. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it.
That's a stuck up for class.
Yes, Joey's gonna be staying with us through the commercial break. Thanks, Joey.
Thank you, Joey. Thanks, guys.
Good job, guys. Thanks,
Thank
y'all.
you. Thanks.
All right, so that's good. These guys, I don't know.
It's a great panel.
It is
a great panel.
It's good
I
stuff.
can't. It makes me that much more excited for panel 2. It really does.
Absolutely.
Well, we got some business before that, man.
We do. We have a brand new debut
segment, baby.
Yes, and the next up is Get More Frank.
Get more what?
Get More Frank.
Or what?
Get More Frank.
We'll be right back. Check this out.
Go to any car dealership in the country. Pick any salesperson at any dealership, and I guarantee you, if you can get an honest answer to the question, do you like the F&I manager? The answer to that question is going to be, I hate his fucking guts. It's the absolute truth. Any dealership, any size, anywhere. The sales department and the sales managers absolutely hate the people in the F&I department. And it's an absolute shame because they're both at fault. And at the end of the day, that hate benefits no one. So here's the situation we have today. Profit margins are small. In some cases, front-end gross appears as a negative number on the monthly statement. The sales department is having a tough enough time just getting customers in the door, much less holding on to them once they show up. And when they do, they bring their prices from 3 competing dealers and one mysterious source that says their trade-in is worth this much. So then, here comes Jesus, the F&I manager, who's going to save the dealership by generating some back-end gross and breathe life back into each and every car deal. Problem is, he or she actually expects to be treated like Jesus, or like a rock star walking around backstage at a sold-out show, or like a NASCAR winner doing a donut burnout after their first place finish. And it just isn't so, my friends. It just isn't so. What everyone needs to realize is that it doesn't take one person to make a dealership win. It takes an entire staff. If the lot kid doesn't keep the customer parking spots clear for people to pull in, the entire dealership loses. If the BDC rep, who's more than likely working in a room that best resembles a Stone Age cave, doesn't put on a cheery voice and answer all the customers' questions when they call, the entire dealership loses. And if the salesperson doesn't work his absolute hardest to break down that wall of anxiety and fear that every customer walks in with and wins that guy's trust, and the sales manager says yes to a short deal, once again, the entire dealership loses. When the lot kid, BDC rep, salesperson, and sales manager do their part, only when they all do it, only then does the F&I manager get a pass at that customer. And to be honest, if he doesn't get that pass, the entire dealership loses. So everyone, let's all get over ourselves. F&I managers, you're not the savior of the dealership. Stop belittling the salespeople, giving them a hard time that's way more than necessary for not having their paperwork right. Remember that you were a salesperson too back in the day, and empathize with the real struggle that they're going through. Because you, my friend, more than likely did not sell during this day and age and under these same circumstances. Salespeople, grow up and do everything you can to assist your F&I manager to do his job, because you're more than likely getting paid on the revenue that he's generating. Set that customer up on the products that you know will already benefit the customer, so he's not hit over the head when he sits down in the box. In this day and age, when there are so many moving parts to a car deal actually becoming a car deal, when the customer makes the majority of their decisions before they ever set foot into even one dealership lot, can there realistically be one person who's the make or break of this entire fragile process? So let's be honest here, people. The same way all the organs in your body have to work properly and together for you to stay alive, all the people, all those organs, if you will, in the front end of the dealership need to work together for the dealership to win. And win it must, my friends. Win it must. Because if it doesn't, we'll all die.
When you say my name, when you say my name, baby, when you say my name.
Hi, I'm Chip Perry. Earlier this year, we made a pledge to dealers that outlined some major changes designed to make TrueCar a more positive place for you to do business. I can't say enough how valuable your feedback has been and how much we believe that your ongoing advice and guidance will enable us to continue to improve our service to you in meaningful ways. On behalf of everyone at TrueCar, I want to sincerely thank you for your support and guidance while we are making these fundamental changes needed to ensure that TrueCar works better for you. See more at truecar.com/pledge.
Jason Rice from Lot Pop, and let me tell you what we do to help dealerships increase used car sales 20 to 30% in gross in volume. 3 areas we focus on: trend reports. We look at weekly trends that no one else is trending to make adjustments on our inventory. 2 is we do weekly review calls to review those trends, but also we dig through every car that needs to be price adjusted to increase the searches. And 3, we do a virtual lot walk, make sure every car is standing tall in line, and make sure we don't have bad photos like these. Check out our website, lotpop.com. our blog at automotiverevolution.com, and our weekly video tips at increaseturn.com. Thanks.
Service Group has over 40 years of experience empowering dealerships to grow profits, develop personnel, and provide their customers with a high level of service. We offer high-quality products, world-class servicing, and innovative training and technology. Meet our team, first-class trainers, the best account managers, and an executive team that's second to none.
This is your Service Group team. We look forward to giving your people the power to perform.
Allow What's Next Media to save your staff time and frustration while creating a professional video product that still looks like something that your dealership made for guests, even featuring your plates on the vehicle. Our staff creates a custom model review series that includes your own digital assets or existing dealership footage. These HD videos are delivered on your YouTube and on your actual website while these new models are still fresh. Get better videos that cost less than doing it yourself.
All right, we're back. We're live. It's Thursday. This is Auto Dealer Live, and we are in the middle, man. Slap in the middle of panel number 1 and panel number 2.
Yeah.
Of sales.
Superstars.
Superstars. What she used to do, like. Something like that, right?
That was awesome. Yeah.
So, man, here it goes. The next up, without further ado, we have Mike Bonnet, Sales and Marketing Manager at Cardone Training Technologies.
The Captain!
Alexander Miller, Vice President in Sales and Marketing, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at the Automotive Partners. And we have Stephen Brickhouse, one of our very own. He's Executive Senior Account Manager here at IPD. And one of our top, I think he's our top salesperson, isn't he?
Yeah. He's the best.
So, hey, all right, guys, well, and gals, thank you. Thank you for coming on. And we want to jump right into this thing. And I'm going to start it with you, Brick. I'm going to put you right on the spot, man, because I know that you were preparing for this. So I'm going to ask you a question we talk about here. And Alex and Mike, I'll let you guys comment on this. And then I'm sure the guys have tons of questions. But, Steve, we talk a lot about sales. And, you know, obviously you're making a great income. And we're not going to we're talking about what makes a top performer a top performer. I want you to talk a little bit about the why. How important is the why you sell something? Steve Brickhouse.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, sir. The why for me is really what continues to drive you beyond the point where you've made the income that you need to make. Your bills are paid. You're going after your dreams and your goals. We consistently create positive ways to keep the why in front of us. You know, something we preach to the team. But for me, you know, once you've made an income where you don't need to continue to make money to pay bills or to live your dreams, you continue to press on. And we have a saying around here that why should make you cry. And if you're not passionate about it, if there's not something that's going to propel you to do what everyone else is not doing, when everybody else has quit, when everybody else is called it a day, you have to be able to dig deep in your why is what really allows you to do that.
Yeah, thanks, Steve. I'm going to go to the captain, Mr. Michael Bonnet over at Grant Cardone's office. Michael,
Dave?
Hey, how you doing?
David Villa?
Hey,
Doing well.
You know, we had a panel on just earlier of sales superstars, and you know they talked about the basics, they talked about hustle, they talked about follow up. But one of the things I was picking up on, and maybe you can give some insight to this, is maybe how a person defines hustle, how they define follow-up, because it seemed like their definitions of follow-up is really what made the difference versus what maybe the average person would think follow-up is.
Yeah, great, Dave. Great question. So I'm actually gonna go off of what you said. I'm actually gonna use the automotive industry as follow-up. And I think the problem with follow-up today, whether it's the automotive world, it's digital marketing, it's social networking, right now in today's marketplace, okay, most people just don't know how to follow up. They're missing those essential tools in the business. You know, people don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. And so I think it's critical. You know, you can have all the product knowledge training in the world. You could have the industry specifics, right? You could have the best pitch in the world and the best product. Get the decision maker on the phone. But if your follow-up game is not on point, I'm talking being a professional in follow-up and doing it the right way, okay, then you're going to struggle.
And so the follow-up game today is so crucial in any business. I can tell you right now, I take a lot of pride in it, because if you don't have different strategies and different techniques of getting in front of the decision maker, whether it's a CEO, a president, a Fortune 500 company, and you're not doing it the correct way, you're going to fall off the map. And so what I would say to people out there is really, really focus on the follow-up game. Okay, you got your beginning of the process, but then stick with your follow-up game. And if you need help on it, come and see the captain, Mike Barnett. I'll take care of you.
Let me thanks, Mike. Let me go to Alex for a second. Alex, you heard Mike, and I want to piggyback on that. And we were talking to the three people on the first panel. Were on the automotive side, at the dealership level. So it was a little bit of a different spin. You guys are vendors. You sell dealers, but again, we're not really here to talk about that. We're here to talk about what makes a top performer a top performer. And why do you think, Alex? Why do you think somebody stops following up? Why do you think somebody? Mike said something about you have to follow up, and and sometimes people don't know what to say. Let's take that for a second. Somebody doesn't know what to say. Sometimes they say nothing, or they say the wrong thing. And if they say nothing enough, then they're not going to capitalize on what the follow up can bring in, and that's deals. So speak to that, Alex, from your perspective. And I know you're a vice president of sales. You have a team. Talk about that and what you teach your people.
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, there is no such thing as stopping. You cannot stop. You have to consistently touch base. And at the end of the day, it's the decision maker. You're not getting to him. Find somebody that's got his ear. Talk to somebody else. Talk to somebody in a different role. Get a different angle at it. Think about the product in a different light. It's not only serving necessarily the general manager in the dealership, but you may have a product that also serves marketing, and there's an angle for you to play there to get some excitement. Enough people are talking about it. Somebody's going to tell that GM, hey, listen, heard about this product. They're going to have a conversation about it at that sales meeting, and that's going to lead to that follow-up where you can get back in there. So just take a different door. One door closes, one door opens. You have to stay on it.
That's good.
Hey, Brick, I think there's been a common thread, whether it's been said directly or not, the last panel and this panel, and it's basically about, I think people, if you have to genuinely care. Talk a little bit about that, about caring about your prospect.
Yeah, I was watching earlier, and for us, Tommy and I were just talking about. By the way, Tommy's the number one guy. I'll say that. I'll say
not
that
this month.
Right now
not this month so far.
The month ain't over.
Well, no, the month ain't over, but right now you're number.
Actually, Arnold. Hey, Arnold's like, I thought you said you were the top guy, and then so Dave.
But it's not fair.
You're contradicting yourself.
That's not fair. That's like that's like
right. Like I was a top guy overall last month.
Really, you guys want to go? I sell more by accident than you and Brick sell on purpose together.
Except for last month when I beat you. Except for last month when I beat you.
You didn't beat me last month.
I beat you last month. Tim Leap, can you please call in on the line? Thank you.
So let's get on with the
Let's go, Steve.
Beat me. You couldn't beat me if I were asleep.
We were talking about it earlier, and in the last panel you asked the question. So what do you do that 95% of other people don't do? The guys that don't excel, the guys that don't make it. What do you do that's different? And it's care. Actually care about your prospect. Actually care about the person that you're working with. Actually care about their goals. Because when you care about them and you care about their goals and what they want to do, then you're going to see success. It's just naturally going to follow you. And we're talking about automotive, and that's all we do. We call dealers day in, day out, and it's just the grind. But here's the reality of it. They're people. They're people. We say car people, car guys, car girls, car gals. They're human beings, and they just want to be talked to like a human being. When you can figure out what makes sense to them and you actually care about it, then it's going to propel you into success, and you're not going to be worried about hitting your objectives. You're not going to be worried about having to go the extra mile. It's just going to happen naturally because you actually care and give a crap about the people that you're working with.
That's right.
That's good.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back to Michael, and we heard this from Heather in the previous panel, and Mike touched on it a bit as well. But when it comes to follow-up, when we talked about people's definitions of follow-up, what I heard with Heather, what I hear with Michael, I'm hearing it from Steve, is that it's personal, right? It's not like the next thing on the checklist, like, oh yeah, I did my follow-up. It's personal. You guys you want to be on the phone with that person. You want to get them to the next step, and you're not going to stop until that's done. Talk about that, Michael.
Yeah, so, Dave, great point. So here's the thing, what we're doing in any industry, in any business, whether it's the automotive industry, whatever, the bottom line is we're providing value, okay? We're here to provide value. Right? We're here to exchange services. If we're not providing value in exchanging services for our clients, then we're not doing our job. Okay? You could give them all the product, you can give them all the service, you can give them all the information, pricing, and terms, but until you close them, there's no value, there's no exchange there. So when you take the follow-up, okay, you gotta make it at that relationship, right? Because we're in the relationship business, no matter what industry you're in, okay? So what I mean by that is if you take a contact, it's just a contact. But when you take the R in relationship and put it into the contact, what do you get? You get a contract.
That's good.
So the follow-up is the key. The follow-up is the key of, hey, I'm still out there. I'm still on your radar. I want to earn your business. Let's roll, because we got the number one product. We're the number one company, and there's nobody else out there that can touch us.
Right.
It's conviction. So
That's
when
good.
you follow up with your clients, everybody that's out there, you got to have conviction.
That's good. That's a good point. And Alex, I want to go back to you for a second, and I want to switch gears. We have five or 6 minutes, and we'll give each of you guys again another round here. But let's switch the gears to closing a little bit. Mike brought up closing, and I was talking earlier in the week on a Salescast I did about closing, and I want to set the stage for this. And you can disagree with me or agree, and then elaborate on it. Maybe give your opinion on closing. But I was talking about the fact you leave your house every morning, and you go out a door. You turn around and you close the door, and you even lock it. So to me, closing is a natural process. If you do a great opening, you do a great presentation, and you're pitching with passion, you have a product you believe in, you care about your customer, all of the things we've been talking about, closing is natural. It's not a separate deal. So people freak out. They start to change. Their rate of speech goes up, down. They start to get nervous when it comes to closing. And the reality is, you would never think about, Alex, leaving your house in the morning and leaving your door wide open just because you're coming back that night. So talk about closing and why people clinch up. What is it about closing a deal that freaks people out?
They're scared to ask. They're scared to ask for the sale. I think that is the critical part. But at the end of the day, if they've done the right thing, then they have the authority, and they've established that authority that they are the expert. And they should have that confidence and belief in the product that has been, they should be conveying that they're not selling a product, they're really providing a solution. And so if you take that consultative approach and you're having a conversation with the GM instead of trying to close him, it's going to happen. People buy that way. I mean, I run a remote business, so every product that we sell is completely 100% remote. I'm never in front of anyone. So I ask for it, but the whole entire time, I'm also starting with positioning it the way that they understand that I am going to provide them a solution, and this is how my product is going to do it. It should make sense at the end of the pitch. They should be asking a lot of questions. There shouldn't be a lot of room for that if you've done your job.
That's good stuff.
Yeah, and Michael, I'm gonna ask you. Is it the fear of asking, or is it the fear that we haven't done enough to ask?
Phenomenal question. That's a great question. And here's the thing with that. I wouldn't say so much it's the fear. It's having the skills. It's actually having the skills. It's actually training every day and developing that muscle base. That's where people are missing. Like, that's why when you see long sales cycles that should be really maybe a week or maybe even 3 days, when they turn into 3 months or 6 months or a year, those people are lacking the basic skills of, well, how do I handle an objection? Mike, it's too much money. Mike, I got to think about it. Mike, I got to check with the spouse. Those are all complaints. All they are is complaints. And so if people out there, and Dave made a great point, if you're looking to become a master closer, you first got to be able to handle objections and train every day on that. Like me, I know probably 200 closes. I don't know 2 or 3 or 4 closes, because I'm going to tell you right now, you will make no money in any industry if you do not know how to close and you got a very limited closing strategy. So Dave, really, it's a little bit of fear, but what comes with the fear is a lack of training. So what I would say to any automotive dealer out there, any industry, really focus on that with your people. Really get on them about the basic skills and the techniques on closing, and I can help you.
That's good. You know what, Mike?
I had a feeling that was going to circle.
Give us real quick. I'm going to give each of you guys a chance to plug what you guys do. Mike, tell dealers how they can reach you right now if they're interested in taking your advice. And by the way, I actually like that point a lot because, you know, when you really think about what he said, there is a fear. But it could be not just a fear of rejection. It could be a fear that I don't know what I'm doing, and that's a lack of training. So that's a good point. Tell dealers how they can get a hold of you and learn how to close.
Yeah. So if there's any dealer principal, any general manager, salesperson, sales manager, for us here, we're reaching 7 billion people over here at Cardone Enterprises. We want to help you, and so. If you're looking to really increase your revenue in a very short period of time, you're looking to train your management team, your sales staff, phones and BDC, okay, service training, customer service, new hires, give me a call, okay? I'll be more than happy to help your team learn how to close sooner rather than later. Can I get them skilled up to build that muscle just like the Navy SEALs? Right? What do the Navy SEALs do every single day? They train on the same thing. So when it comes to battle time, like if I was working in the automotive industry and I was a sales rep, I would know how to handle an objection on the lot. If I'm doing phone-ups, I know how to handle an objection. So the bottom line is this, and I see this every day, and I work with a ton of dealerships, okay? Industry specifics and product knowledge can only take you so far. If you don't know how to handle today's consumer, today's buyer, and today's marketplace, you're done. So what I'm going to tell automotive dealerships right now, if you want to get your salespeople, your management staff, your whole department to that next level, you have to call me. I'll make you a ton of money. I'll do it in a short period of time. I'm going to increase your revenue. I'm going to increase your market share and your net profitability. If you don't call me, that would be my fault, not yours. But I'd advise you to call me. Call me today. My number is 816-509-0411. 10X, boys.
Thanks, Mike Bonnet. I appreciate it, man.
All right, Alex, go ahead and give us your closing thoughts, some ways people can get a hold of you as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of our products that we've just brought to market is called Automoto HR, and it's focused on human capital issues in the dealership. And so, you know, to that point, in regards to skilling up, you know, it all starts with people. You got to have the right people in the dealership. You know, you got to get the people that are going to be long-term solutions for the stores, and that's really what we're working on. Is we have a platform that's going to give a centralized portal for you to hire better and faster. So, you know, you can get a hold of us by actually calling me directly. You know, our number is 949-973-4437. You get set up. It's got a 15-minute demo, and it'll absolutely change everything you're doing on a hiring basis.
Okay, and what's the name of the company?
It's called Automoto HR.
All right. Awesome. Alex Miller, thank you so much.
Thank you. And Mr. Stephen Brickhouse, you got the final word, bro. Give us some final wisdom and tell us how people can get a hold of you and me. Where are we at? Where we sit?
Steve's like, call me right now before Tommy gets back in here, and I'll give you something special.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say is I had a sales trainer say this for one time, and it stuck with me forever. Happens to be sitting up there at the desk, and you can cheat the process, but the process will never cheat you. So you're talking about the close and how it's a part of the process. You can, as a salesperson, you can try and cheat the process, but it's never going to cheat you. That came straight from at Desking Deals, David Cribb sitting up there looking all good on the panel. But yeah, we service the automotive industry, dealers, general managers. If you are looking for qualified buyers, we have a connected marketing program. I mean, we include email, we include social media, we include digital, we include direct mail, not the dinosaur direct mail that you're used to, but something that is revolutionary. When dealers see it, they fall in love with it, and the cool part is they continue to do business with us, unlike most mail companies. So you can reach me directly, 813-463-4014. I don't know Tommy's extension, but I'm sure he'll share it with you.
Actually, my number is 41013. It's before yours. on the last 4 digits there.
All right, man. Well, guys, thank you so much for being with us. Mike Bonnet, Steve Brickhouse, and Alex. You prefer Alex or Alexandra? Oh, she jumped off. She leave? Alex, you off? All right. Well, thank you guys so much for being with us. And, man, it was awesome. And make sure you check these guys out and get a hold of Mike over at Cardone and Alex and Steve Brickhouse here at IPD. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with us, man. Appreciate it.
Thanks, y'all.
Thank you, guys.
Thanks, guys. Guys, appreciate it. Thanks for the invite.
Thank you. Well, there you heard it.
Good
that
stuff.
was awesome, man.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
That was the last up.
You know, I feel like we didn't get to hear from one of the best. We didn't get to ask these questions to David Villa, but I have one for you. And that is, you know, one of the things that we talked about earlier about defining certain things, like what is hustle, defining hustle. Now, you come into work typically around 8, 9 in the morning, right? And you leave around 6.
Yeah.
And you're typically off on the weekends, right?
Yep.
But you're crushing it. But one of the things I noticed, and again, I think it goes back to defining hustle, is that I don't think I ever see you just sitting around, like never just sitting, just hanging out. Like it's constant activity in those 8 or 10 hours a day.
My wife was listening. If she's listening right now, here's what she would say. And she will say this. She would tweet this crap if she's listening right now. She'll say, "Oh yeah, we'll come home when he gets home from work. He'll be sitting around." No,
well, that's a time to do that.
I'm just saying that. But yes, well, you know, two things you said. A, man, I believe that when I'm at work, I'm at work. I used to be a workaholic. Okay, and what I mean by that is I worked as a number one priority. I don't do that anymore. Now I hustle. I'm a hustleaholic. And it's funny you said that because you know what? Kind of reflecting on it, I work. I get here at 8, 8:30. If I'm taking my daughter to school, I get here at 8. I go to Starbucks. I leave at 6, but we all leave at 6 o'clock. Now, I understand people that say work nights, work weekends, and work this. Look, and whatever fits your boat, I mean, that you to each his own. We here, I mean, I'm a big believer in what you can do in 8 hours. You can do in 8 hours what you can do in 12 if you hustle and if you do it right. And so I put a lot of priority. I leave my phone at home on the weekends for a large part of the weekend. If people know if they need to get a hold of me, they get a hold of my wife if there's some sort of emergency, because I unplug, and just to some degree. And so I think hustling is not necessarily how many hours you put in; it's what you do with the hours.
Right. Right.
And but when I'm here, I guess not noticing that, but you saying that, hey, I notice you don't sit down a lot. When I'm here, man, I don't even like to leave. I don't like to leave for lunch. I send my assistant out to get lunch every day. I don't like to leave. I don't like to be disconnected when I'm here. I don't even like to travel. I don't like to go anywhere. I like to speak and like to do things like that. But when it comes up to I'm leaving for Chicago tomorrow, I start to automatically get homesick because I like to function right here. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah,
yep. That's where you thrive. It's where you're good at, bro.
That's what I thrive, man. You can do anything right here, 8 hours.
And I would say too, I think one contingency on being a top salesperson is get behind something you believe in. Get behind a product. There's no. That's the worst. That's so unhelpful. That is so unhelpful. Just so you know.
Go ahead, Tommy.
No, all I was gonna say
Lewis
is
isn't in sales anymore, is he?
No, he's not.
No, he's all right.
Yeah, he transitioned.
Yeah,
like RuPaul. So get behind something you can get behind. You know what I mean? We sell a product you can believe in. Like me and Brick, we drink the Kool-Aid here. We believe it. We see because we see the results. We're not. We none of us here could sell snake oil. And if you're selling snake oil, you need to find something. If you actually have some inherent sales skills and can be trained and are teachable, find something that's a good quality product to get behind. All these people we found on the show today, they all believe in what they do. His name's Louisville Chevy guy. Well, he believes in his product. For one second,
changed his freaking name.
He literally changed his name. He's like,
he's the Louisville Chevy guy.
That's his. It's on his birth certificate now.
Yeah.
So
his wife is Mrs. Louisville Chevy guy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
No, we're joking. Anyway, but yeah. Find a product you can sell that you can get behind. That was my closing.
And another thing we did not hear today was a lot of talk about money. You notice that here you've got top performers, guys that I know personally are making a lot of money.
Yeah.
But that wasn't really the theme of
Steve Sonning. I got to say, Steve, you listen, it's okay for the unpaid commercials because I believe that you had a shout out to do today, brother. And you were quick to tweet that out and say, hey, I got mentioned by Joey Book. So just saying.
Well, I think Brick touched on it. He said, once you start making enough money to cover your bills and, give your family a better lifestyle, what's next?
Why?
Why?
Yeah. You have to have a great why, I say, and then after the great why, you have to have a great how.
Yeah.
You know, great why and a great
What I
how.
heard a lot though was people that were sold on what they were doing, what they were offering, what they could give to their client. It was more about how they were going to get what they have to their client, you know, value wise.
Because that's what it said. If you think about it, and I know we have to go because we have the last
Chevy
little bit
dude, not guys. Sorry, Chevy dude. My bad.
we have a little last bit of lot party you don't want to miss because John Anderson's interview. John Anderson's a GM up in Indiana, a phenomenal guy, by the way. But let me just say this because this is about salespeople, and what you just said brought up things I can't not mention. The money, in my opinion, I say something like this. I use it like a visual that, you know, if you if you do and work the process and you're selling a product that can serve and help people, then if you do that enough and you help enough people reach their goals, then here's what money will do. Money will find you. Money will chase you. Money will catch you. Money will tackle you, and then money will sit down on you so you can't get up. Meaning money will find you, and you won't be able to spend it all. Right. So that to me, if you can't do it without making money. And the truth of the matter is, if you really look up the definition, I guess most likely of salesperson, that they're not a slick talker. They're not a shiny shoe wearing person. You know, they don't have a cigar hanging out of their mouth. You know, they don't do that. They are someone
Can I
who
talk to you
is
after the show about some timeshares though?
Yes.
Okay. Go ahead.
But they are someone who believes in something so much. The first salesperson didn't have a professional occupation based on a position. They were just a person that believed in whatever they believed in so much that they went around and that's all they talked about.
Yeah,
and
I
that's
made
all,
this rock.
until
I
somebody
made it around and rolled other things with it. It's very helpful to my
here
family.
comes Tommy. He's going to talk about those rocks again. Hey, did he see me? Did he see me? Hey, Tommy, how you doing? Hey.
Did you ever hear about did you see, what are you doing?
Hey, listen, listen,
Party
this
over
isn't
there,
NBC.
they're like doing this thing.
We got it.
Yeah, this ain't.
They want to get out of here. Is
TGIF.
what it is. They want to close this shop up.
He's turtleheading. He's turtleheading. Are you turtleheading again?
Yes. Let's play Lot Pop, guys. Hey, real quick, I got to make an
God bless you.
announcement.
Good night.
Next week's
God
show.
bless you. Good night.
The next up on the next week's show, we have a phenomenal. It's called Best of the Best. We have Rick Reichart, #1 certified pre-owned dealer in the United States of America, is going to be on the show. We have Shaka Dyson, one of the top F&I trainers, used to run over 45 F&I managers on the show.
Rise and grind.
We have Bill Feinstein. Bill Feinstein, first time on the show, the president and a managing partner of Planet Honda in Jersey.
Yep.
This guy grows Hondas. I mean, like these guys are freaking
Got a
huge.
little Honda factory
And
in his backyard.
what's that?
Got a little Honda factory in his backyard. They pumping them out.
It's the best of the best, and we have some all stars coming on the show.
That list could grow, no? Or
the list will grow.
Okay.
Yes, the list will grow. We have a couple of surprises that we haven't confirmed yet that we're still working on, but they're all going to be huge at what they do. So they're going to be the best of the best.
Yeah.
of the
Honda
best.
comes and borrows cars from that guy.
Yes.
And we also, after Lot, I can't so hard.
Play Arnold
After
video.
Lot Bob, we'll also do Arnold. Arnold's got a little video he did for us this week. We're going to play that after for you guys.
Arnold Tiarino.
Just for love. Just for the love, because we love y'all.
All right. Thank you, guys.
God bless y'all. Good night.
It's an opportunity with that vehicle. Parts departments gets an opportunity with that vehicle, and also more importantly, typically when you trade for a car on your lot, you're not in a cost to market problem with that car that you have when you buy a car at auction. So you have a much more retailable, susceptible to gross unit and inventory now. And then obviously your F&I department gets opportunities with the increased customers coming in. So you touch so many different departments that it gives the entire dealership a lift as a result.
No, cool. Now we have a few minutes left. I say about 2 to 3 minutes now.
Sure.
Is if you were to go back in, and again, you've been doing this a couple months, but if you will go back in and start it over on the dealer end, what are the maybe different approaches after? I know you saw about 20, 30 meeting calls, dealerships all over the country and different struggles. What's that consistent struggle? They go, you know what, if a dealer just focused so much here, that would just trickle down, and that was the area I was weak in, I would be stronger there. What would that be in?
Stop making excuses and building stories as to why you do not want to commit and stay consistent with that velocity model.
Yeah.
We've talked about it a couple of times, and I think, I would say be coachable, and don't feel like that. Don't allow those old school principles that we all know, if we've been in the business for any time frame, kind of sneak in there and disrupt the consistency of the process. being coachable, I heard an interview with Lou Holtz, and one of the things that he mentioned was, my job as a coach is to eliminate the mistake before it happens.
Yeah.
So I thought that was a great definition. So being coachable and eliminating those old school tendencies that we all tend to hang on to, that we keep justifying, and then as we justify it, the next thing you know, you get bleed through on the inventory, and you're fighting that, which is what I did. One, I get the inventory in line, and then I would think, I can try to make a little bit more on them, so I would up my pricing on that 0 to 30 day bucket in the inventory. And the next thing you know, I start getting some bleed through. So it was up and down. And my encouragement is to stay consistent with those principles that are going to get you operating in that prime day of inventory where you're going to make the most money on it. There's no this is not rocket science. It's proven that if you sell that car in that first 30-day bucket, you maximize the gross on it.
Yep. And I would think then too that opened up the door, as we're wrapping up here, is that as soon as you start doing that opens up the door. You're talking about old school habits of sometimes our pay plan is structured on old school habits. So,
Right.
a lot of managers work around that. And turnaround time. We're still at the old habits of our service department where they teach the used car department as a second-hand citizen instead of their best customer and push those cars off. So you open up a can of worms when you do this, and this is another reason why I think dealers are real hesitant of committing to that. But the strong are getting stronger. The dealers that do it are getting better and bigger, and that's where these big corporations, the CarMaxes,
Exactly.
AutoNations, and they know this,
Exactly.
and they're fine tuning all this processes down. But again, I thought their perspective coming in from just wearing that hat as a manager running a store, what it again, just overall, just dealing with this perspective as a vendor coming in, trying to help a dealer on no matter what it is, AutoTrader, Cars.com, our services, whoever, and these best practices. But sometimes we have our blinder going, yeah, and then they move on because they're just so busy in their world, which is understandable. But sometimes I think things get missed, and
Yeah, don't be. I would. That's what I would say. I think sometimes I made the mistake of thinking that I could do it all and not reach out for help. And reach out for the help. It's in my opinion now, being on the other side of the desk, it's easily justifiable. The return on investment is easily justifiable to me as far as how it will help you, and you can focus on those things around the dealership that you need to focus on.
all right. Well, thanks for the interview. If you can get a hold of John, he's at janderson@lotpop.com. Tune into our Lot Party show every Thursday at 15 minutes before the Auto Dealer Live. Hope you enjoyed this episode, and see you next week. Thank you.
Hi everybody, this is Dave Villa coming to you from Auto Dealer Live, and I'm here with my co-hosts David Cribbs and Tommy Elwell. Say hi guys. Hi guys. Anyways, today's show we're going to be talking about superstars. Superstars? Oh man, I love superstars. This is my favorite superstar. Yeah, David, not exactly those kind of superstars. I like superstars too. Oh, this is one of my favorite. Gotta take a stand, it don't have to hide. Yeah, that's not exactly the type of superstars we're talking about. But since we're on it, here's one of mine. Hey, don't judge. She just gave away a bunch of cars. Anyways, enough with the fun and games. We got a great panel of guests today, and I can guarantee you that each and every one of them is a sales
Superstar! Superstar! Superstar!